Hey y'all! Welcome to another episode of Co-Creating. I know I've been MIA, but I had company last weekend, so I didn't really have time to do Soul Food Sundays. But I did promise you guys, get myself together, two episodes of Co-Creating since I didn't do one in October. I did one earlier this month um, on the Vernon Howard's book before I mess up the name of it again. So if you have not had a chance to check that one out, you definitely want to do that. It's a really good book. And I think I did a really good job of reviewing it. Even though I'm not finished with the book, I think I got like 3 chapters left. But anyway, so yesterday was Thanksgiving. I hope you guys had an awesome Thanksgiving. And in the spirit of Thanksgiving, we are going to be talking about the concept of surviving versus thriving, which is something that has really been in my spirit lately as I am on my journey, sharing my experience and what I'm learning with you all. So I just think it's really important that as we are co-creating with one another, we understand the difference between surviving, merely going along to get along, being on our journey, doing the day-to-day routine, versus thriving and what that looks like. How we came to be a survivor or a thriver, how to shift from surviving and thriving. Let me say this. If you see me shaking like a crackhead needing a hit or a stripper, it's cold in my house, yo. Like, I gotta get a new furnace, and so I have it scheduled for a few days out. And I'm trying to hold out. I'm trying not to go and buy like a little space heater or whatever. But, bruh, it's cold. It took everything in me not to push play on this video, and y'all see me in here with my robe on, because that's literally how I be thugging around the house trying to keep warm until they come and fix this furnace. So I do have a cup of tea to help me get through. And like I said, if you see me pulling one of these numbers or something like that, you've been warned. I ain't sick. It's just cold in my house. But yeah, surviving versus thriving. So many of us, I'm sure, are familiar with the term surviving. We've all we do it on a daily, actually, but in terms of how we live our life and how we want to move forward, especially as we are approaching a new year, I think it is very smart of us to really consider whether or not we have grown used to survival tactics, or if we are currently thriving. Um, and when I think of survival or surviving versus thriving, I think about like that picture we see online of this little girl with a bear. And she has this small teddy bear and she's holding on to it for dear life. And Jesus is standing in front of her and he has a bigger bear behind his back. And he's trying to get her to give him the smaller bear in exchange for the bigger bear. But because she is accustomed to the bear that she has, she's not trusting God to give her better or more. And that's kind of how we all at some point, I think, find ourselves. I know I have. I can tell you specifically about a time when that was the case for me, just in a toxic relationship and thinking that um, it wasn't going to get any better than that, because I had been taught that the survival tactic was to thug it out, to stay in that relationship for better or worse, and we were not married. And it was narcissistically abusive. He didn't put his hands on me, but he was an asshole, demon, F boy, nonetheless. And No, it sounds like somebody at my door, y'all. Must have been somebody knocking on the neighbor's door. But anyway, it was a terrible relationship that I have no regrets about because it taught me some very valuable lessons that I otherwise would not have learned. It was definitely a part of my sacred contract. However, in that relationship, I was surviving. I was not thriving. I was just doing what it is that I thought needed to be done to get to the end result. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to get married. And so I was accepting a whole bunch of fool, la, la. And it wasn't until I had hit what I considered in my life as close to rock bottom as I had been. And I was in my car one day, sitting at the park. I'm at the point where I've started the home buying process. And so I was in between places to stay. I was not homeless. I had somewhere to go. One of the places I went, me and them got into it. I ended up packing my car back up to the brim and going somewhere else to stay because I did not want to stay in the home that I was, the apartment that I was sharing with this dude. Because I'm very much that type of person. Like, home is my sanctuary. I gotta be where I'm comfortable. I gotta be able to look from wall to wall and have peace. And that was not the case. So I was like, hell, I'd rather sleep in my car. I could have easily went to my mom's house. That's always an option. But I just didn't want to be a burden to anybody. So I went where I thought it was most conducive for me to be at the time. But I was sitting in my car at the park because I just emotionally felt like I was suffocating. Not physically, but emotionally. Like I could not breathe. And so I sat outside because I needed some fresh air. And I'm sitting in my car with the windows rolled down. And I was talking to God. And I said, God, I know this ain't rock bottom. I am blessed. I had just won $500 on the scratch off that day. And I'm about to close on a house. It's just a process, and I'm not near the part where I'm ready to move in, but just to have the opportunity to afford and to buy and own a home. I knew it wasn't rock bottom for me. I couldn't ignore my blessings. However, emotionally, it was rock bottom. Like, I was just like, but I am emotionally drained, and no money, no amount of money can help me feel better. So I asked God for a life that didn't look anything like the life that I was living. I was like, God, I don't know how I got to this place, but I need you to help me identify how I ended up in this emotional hole and how to get out of it and how to stay out of it. And if that requires my life looking totally different from what it looks like now, I am open to that. And that was me telling God, I am tired of surviving. I'm ready to thrive. I'm ready to do something different. I'm ready to feel something different. And man, it has been it has been on and popping since then, especially as it relates to my emotional health. And I'm so grateful. I ain't gonna cry in front of y'all, not today. But I am so grateful to the point of unashamedly I could cry because God has really turned things around for me. And I know better than to put myself in situations like or similar to that I found myself in. But I just wanted to share that with you guys to just show you how I speak from experience when it comes to shifting from surviving to thriving, because I grew up not seeing the most healthiest of relationships, not only amongst men and women, but people, period. And that is the story for many of us, so I'm not ashamed to share that at all, because I know that's very common. But when you don't see it, you struggle with knowing what that looks like. So then you got to teach yourself. You got to be open. You got to learn. You got to consider yourself a blank canvas, and you have to rid yourself of your ego and honor that you don't know what you don't know. And you have to be open to learning and being aware of your experiences and what they have come to teach you. And so that is what I did. And honestly, the most important relationship has always been there, which has been my relationship with God. But the second most important being my relationship with myself. And baby, let me told you, her love her some her. And she ain't got no point to prove as it relates to that. It is what it is. But that's the point that I really had to get to in order to go from surviving to thriving. Another thing about surviving versus thriving is that you have to feel like you are worthy of thriving in this world and just not settling for whatever is given to you, not settling for whatever you've been taught as the begin all, end all. That's law. Like Gotti said, a lot of what we've been taught is not law. It's just tradition, which is different because somebody created different. I mean, hell, people create laws. You really have to, in order to thrive, get to know what works for you and work towards making that a reality for yourself. So I made some notes of some things that I wanted to share with you guys. So from time to time, you'll see me kind of glance down at them. But another thing, as it relates to surviving and thriving, surviving is like that thing that you feel the most secure in. You know, if you feel most secure in your house or the car you have or whatever the case, like let's say you got a car and you paid it off, and so you feel secure with having that car because you own that car. But thriving may be going out here and getting you a car note. You're not gonna never thrive and enjoy that new car smell and the way a new car ride. Oh, I did that too, come to think of it. Man, it was my second car. I had that car too. It had a hole in the bottom of the driver's seat, a wood plank in the driver on the passenger side window to keep the window up, cigarette holes. We ain't gonna talk about how they got there, because I don't smoke cigarettes. It was so much damage to that car. Scratches, dents, dings, baby, but it ran. And I was surviving in my little car. My little orange Pontiac Sunfire. Until I couldn't no more. And it was a friend of mine. He passed away, Lord rest his soul, Bronte. He was like, Keita, you climbing up the corporate ladder. You're doing administrative work now. And you know, it wouldn't hurt you to pull up in something a little more representative of where you are in your life. And he was basically telling me, baby, you out here surviving in this scuffler. You can afford it. You can afford to thrive. You can afford to get you something and treat yourself to something new. And I ended up getting a newer, more reliable car and started to thrive a little bit, because I ain't even big on cars. I could have pulled up in my Sunfire for a few more years and just been like, yo, if you riding with me, just know my window don't roll down. Like, I was cool with that. I like nice things, but at the same time, I think I have a balance with it. I'm not the most materialistic person you've ever met, especially when it comes to vehicles. But I had to learn that I was worthy of having a more up-to-date, more reliable, nicer looking car. And so that was a lesson in surviving versus thriving for me. Because the same way I could have rode around in that car for a little while longer, I really could have gotten me something newer before it got to the point where I actually had a car accident in it and decided, okay, it can't take no more dings and dents and bangs. So I let it go. But that's surviving versus thriving. Getting a car note wasn't the most secure thing. You know, these jobs ain't the most reliable. I didn't want to take on another bill, but in order to thrive and feel good about what I'm hopping in and, you know what I'm saying, enjoying that feeling of having a newer model car that's more reliable and looks better. I had to go beyond surviving and thriving. Survival to thriving. Thriving is living in color, living on your own terms, doing what you want to do, uh, traveling if you want to travel. Some people don't have interest in travel. Some people, for them, thriving would be staying at the house instead of being in the streets or being around people, because that is what they enjoy doing. But it's whatever excites you on your own terms, or whatever makes you happy on your own terms. It's not contentment. And there's a difference between being excited and being content. Contentment can very well be a feeling that is associated with surviving, whereas, you know, excitement would definitely be more of an element of thriving. And you really don't want to get too attached to either, because at the end of the day, they are fleeting emotions. That's it. That's all. Those are feelings that come and go. So surviving would be like staying in a relationship that you are not happy in, that you are just in because of the financial aspect of it. You all live together, you split the bills, it's cheaper to keep a type of situation, or because of the longevity, but you're not happy. Relationships are meant to teach us, but they are also, we supposed to be happy, we supposed to be elated. If you're gonna let somebody into your space and you enjoy their energy and they enjoy and partake of your energy, why not thrive? Why not it be something where you head over heels in love? And, you know, now you might not like each other some days, but it don't need to be the majority of the damn days. We gonna be realistic about it, because when you're in a relationship where you barely like this person, you are definitely surviving. And that speaks to how you feel about yourself. Do you not think that you're worthy of or capable of a relationship where you can be elated, happily in love, excited, making magic? You know what I'm saying? Like, why would you shouldn't want to settle. Surviving in a relationship would be settling when, you know, there's someone out there for you that excites you, somebody you want to come home to, or that when you leave out the house, you want them to be with you, or when you know, when you have that opportunity to miss them, you definitely do, opposed to y'all separated, you like, damn, I don't want to go home, I don't want to see her, I need an extra day. It ain't supposed to be that kind of work. That is surviving. And it's something that you definitely should explore when you're thinking about whether you are surviving in life or whether you are thriving in life. When you are thriving, you seek adventure. You know, you're open to what's next. You are open to trying new things. You're not complacent, and, you know, just, you good with being bored. You good with going to work and coming home and watching Grey's Anatomy or whatever you watch. There's no excitement in your life. It's just a regular routine. That's surviving. And I know if you black like me, we've been taught to survive, and it's so deeply rooted. It's so deeply rooted in our culture because of the poverty that we have grown up in, the circumstances that we have been handed, the circumstances that many of us have accepted as the end of the road for us. And so we have, a lot of us have fallen into that rut of go to work, come home, pay bills, go to work, come home, pay bills, go to work, come home, pay bills, go to work, come home, pay bills. Maybe go shopping, spend some money. We're consumers. We get caught up in the consumerism situation, you know, that trap. But it's so much more to life. That's surviving. When you want to thrive, you want to start you a garden, or you want to paint your house, or you just want to do something out of the norm, or even develop a routine that fulfills you. That is thriving. But whatever it is, you're doing things on your own terms. You're shaking things up a bit. So I hope this message has found you guys well. I hope that it inspires someone to examine their life, to see where it is that they may be surviving opposed to thriving, And I hope as we are moving into the new year that you all will take the opportunity to make that shift if you find that you are surviving versus thriving. And I hope that you are able to identify and use the tools that are out there to help you to do so. It's just a matter of reflecting on where your energy is stagnant or where things are not growing in your life, where you want to be, and just making a small step toward moving in that direction. If your creative energy is stagnant, grab your canvas and paint. Write. Sing. Even if you can't sing. I sing all the time. I do not sound like Beyonce. I don't care. Who gonna check me, boo? You just gotta let loose, be yourself, do you, and do it without worrying about who got what to say about what. And you gotta change the monotony up a little bit. Whatever your regular routine is, do something different. Whether that's reading a book, dancing, coloring. I gotta get me an adult coloring book because I still like to color at 36 years old. I think it's like slicker meditative practice, because when you're coloring, you're thinking about how cute you're trying to make it, and you're not worried about whatever is going on outside of you, around you, or hell, damn near inside of you. You're distracted, but it's a healthy distraction. And when you're coloring, you're in the moment. So anyway, you may be able to think of some things that may be considered thriving for you, or something that may help you shift from surviving to thriving, that you can share with me. And if so, please feel free to put that down in the comment box. But with that being said, I will see you guys for the next episode of Soul Food Sundays. And if all goes well, the next episode of Co-Creating will be on tarot. So stay tuned for that. If you have not already, like, comment, and subscribe. And I hope that you guys have an awesome week. Peace.